then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels slow-mo, just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind.
After a week off to observe Memorial Day, we are here at Charlotte Motor Speedway for round number 10 of this ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series. It is the TLC Incorporated 220 here today from the Charlotte Roval. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. As always, my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso. We also have Bo Condon in the booth with us here tonight, a driver in this series. But Tony, we'll start with you. Week 13, this is the first day of the actual rollout for the brand new update. It's going to wreak havoc here with the broadcast tonight. Could see some frame drops, could see some guys having throughput issues. Also, some graphical issues are also very much on the cards for tonight.
This is hell, and I am the devil. Good evening, but you can call me Tony. We're rather informal down here, as well as infernal. But all seriousness aside, this is going to be an interesting race, to say the least. Is server stability usually on week 13 during the rollout? Let's just say it has a lot to be desired.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have done plenty of races on weeks like this, and it does get to be a little bit crazy. But Bo, you were just on track, you were just practicing with this car. The updates that were made to this car, there is a brand new damage model to this car, which I'm sure we'll see in full form tonight. Also, a new handling model with this car with the different skid pan under this car, and also the lowered rear diffuser. These guys were complaining about bottoming out during practice sessions during the week off. That lowered diffuser is going to make it only that much more difficult getting up on the banking.
Yeah, well, first, thank you guys for having me in the booth this week. It's a lot safer and more fun up here, honestly, than down there on the track after doing some laps. The diffuser is absolutely wreaking havoc on everyone. I thought that I was just really, really bad, and then I was just hearing some of the comments from the other drivers. Not only am I really, really bad, but that diffuser is also really, really cruel and evil to them, and it's something that they're going to have to adjust for all day long.
Simplest fix for it is just run over the sausage curbs, rip the damn thing off, and go racing.
I tried to hit those turtles as hard as I could and see how much air I could get, and unfortunately, with the damage model fixed, the tie rods will blow off before you'll actually catch any good air like we had back at Talladega.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take a look really quick at the point standings. We only got a couple of seconds here before we jump into the actual race, but by 1 point right now, Roger Diebold currently leads Jake Waltman in the overall championship. Mark McCreary there as well, Bobby Grant and Robert Walton rounding out the top 5. So a very good mix of guys, Tony, that we're seeing up here, and all very, very close.
They are, and we've got a couple of new names to the series. As a matter of fact, one of them goes quick time in the hot lap session. So that's going to be something we're going to need to keep an eye on. But yeah, usual suspects here and are fast as always.
Yeah, absolutely. And go ahead.
I think actually something that's interesting is Bobby Grant having such a blistering speed. He's usually one of those guys that gets a good finish at the end after surviving a long race. It's rare that we see him so high up on the practice ranks, though. He had a blistering pace that had a lot of our team members over at Champion Motorsports shaking in our boots a little bit.
Well, I have confirmation that he's doing this while hungover.
I knew that.
Oh, that might help.
You know, it always helped me.
So start chugging, Bo.
Bottoms up, brother.
Way ahead of you.
The graphical issue you're seeing on screen right now is standard stuff. If the standings are up when the session switches over, that'll fix itself in just a moment. But a 10-minute qualifying session here. A couple of guys out on track right now. Scott Formosa, Roger Diebold, Matt Cherry, Ryan Truex. First time we've seen him on track in for the better part of a month. Ryan Harrison, Steven Sharik, Jake Waltman, James Sharik, Matt Garrett, a bunch of guys on track right now trying to get their laps in here early, Bo.
Well, and I heard a lot of guys talking during practice that they weren't worried about their qualifying laps. They looked at it as maybe just a couple more laps to do in practice and make sure that they have the chicanes right and that they have the bus stop the way they want to enter it and exit it. Because when it comes down to these restarts, so many guys are worried about avoiding that big heartburn turn troubles that we've seen in the Cup Series. And I mean, we can make a heartburn turn here at ThunderClap at a straightaway. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys attack that. I think what you'll end up seeing is a fair amount of guys that were really fast in practice maybe intentionally botch their qualifying lap so that they can start towards the back of the pack and just ride around for those first stages to kind of just survive, like we talked about Bobby Grant doing earlier. I think you'll see some of that.
It's a very good possibility. It's not as though we haven't seen it before, as Ryan Truex has gone purple through the first couple of sectors, but has been quickly has quickly had that broken up by this man, the number 14 of Bobby Grant. He was the fastest in the practice session for quite a while, before newcomer to the series, Daniel Silvestri for RD Esports, topped him right there in the last couple of minutes. One thing we'll speak more about, Tony, next week when we go into the trucks at Gateway, the restart zone. There is a brand new iRacing controlled restart zone. It's no longer just the paint on the walls. And it's no longer, once the pace car goes, you're free to go whenever you feel like. There is a brand new restart zone that was implemented here during this update only for the ovals. No road courses have this restart zone just yet. So it will not be in effect here tonight, but over the course of the remainder of the season, that will definitely be something to watch for.
Well, I mean, if you want to really get technical, the restart zone has never been right on this track. They make you actually funnel through that last little chicane before going through the dogleg on the front stretch. In the real world, they don't do that. And I don't know why iRacing still hasn't gotten that right.
Yeah, it's really annoying out there, too. I can attest to it in other events that we've ran, and especially in any AI races that I've run. It makes starting these events darn near impossible, because of how you have to slowly chicane through there while trying to then get up through the gears, especially if you're starting mid-pack. You're going to see some serious tire spin trying to get up through the gears and get heading towards Heartburn Turn, unlike where you would normally just be able to get on after it.
Big nose jump in there for Daniel Silvestri. Ryan Truex slots that number 56 into second place, but Daniel Silvestri putting down an otherworldly time, a 120.484. He's a second clear of Jake Waltman, who just put himself up into second place.
And that's why I'm up here.
Silvestri is the only driver tonight who has gone sub-minute 21.
And he's only gotten quicker from practice. Here's the man who won the first road course race of the season at Circuit of the Americas, Thomas Aaron, crossing the line. Sixth position on his first lap. He'll go up to fifth on his second. Roger Diebold, current points leader, will slot himself into the sixth position. Vince Burns in the 55 coming through the final chicane, and he will slot himself from P16. He will actually fall down to P17, Bo, as Cameron Henn puts down a time that puts him in 14th.
And it's awesome seeing Cameron Henn in this race. He is our graphic designer in the league. He put together that beautiful bucked up paint scheme you saw, and he has essentially done all of our race logos this season. He loves his road course racing, though, so he's one to keep an eye on today. He's kind of our road course ringer out there in the field.
And certainly has been one to watch out for during, especially at the Super Speedway events that we've had this year. Had a great run at the season opener at Daytona as well as at Talladega, as Henn works his way back onto the oval. JD Woodward a little bit further ahead of him, going through the chicane down the back straightaway. A third place finish for him at Kansas 2 weeks ago. Currently sees himself sitting second place right now on the timing and scoring sheet. Fastest of all through the second sector. Through the final chicane. A little bit wobbly coming out of there, Tony, jumping over those curbs, and unfortunately that will cost him. Better lap time Goes from a 21.38 to a 21.22, but still not enough. As we see the winner from last time out, Greg Maconi.
Greg Maconi is... He's been having a hell of a entry to the season so far. He's that the guy that always likes to get on pit road a special way.
I just saw the paint scheme Maconi's running tonight. Yeah, I get it now.
Yeah, he has a very well-noted non-road course racer. He's not a fan of him. Did very well at COTA, though. And warning everyone that he will be a moving chicane here tonight with that car. As Dustin Stallings right now, the only driver on track, should be good enough. He's on his first lap now. Should get both of them in here in time, Tony.
Well, should, but the question is will. Because it's going to be rough to try to make it in time. 2 minutes left, and he's going to really have to hustle this lap to get it in.
He's about to start his second lap now, his first time. Good enough for 19th, a 25.90 for Stallings. 33 drivers set to take the grid here tonight, and I can for sure say that this is the biggest field I've ever seen for the Roval.
That makes me feel great.
The actual hell?
Especially for a league race. Matt, go ahead.
And with that large of a field, I want to see on these first laps how they handle that bus stop, because we know that when we first were introduced to the Roval, NASCAR had to change it because they thought it was target practice. When we finally got it correct in iRacing, I still, in practice today, I think I hit it once, and I was probably going about 11 miles per hour. With 33 guys, and knowing how our guys in ThunderClap are trying to win it at all costs and at all times, I think you're going to see some guys that are side by side in that bus stop, and that's going to cause some issues.
I would believe it as well, as guys start to get antsy. 30 seconds to go. Dustin Stallings crosses the line, and he will jump up to 15th with a 123.68. So a very good second lap for Stallings.
Talk amongst yourselves. We'll be right back.
And the grid is pretty much set, as Matt Garrett and Greg Vielle both did their qualifying laps, but did not do either one of them cleanly, so they did not set a time. Justin Clapper sat on pit road for the entirety of the session and did not set a time. Tommy Allen Jr., Anthony Burleson, Seth Gadgedoris, and David Hall are also competing in this race, and they did not post a qualifying time. So as we get into this warm-up session, we'll do as we usually do. We'll take it to Terry Adams for tonight's national anthem. Thank you very much to Terry Adams for the national anthem, as he does every single week here for the ThunderClap series. We're just about halfway through this little warm-up session here, just basically your driver's meeting and last second to get about a half a lap in. We'll take a quick look now at the Cup Series standings. We saw the overall standings before. We'll take a look at the Cup standings now. Jake Waltman currently leading that by 2 points over Roger Diebold, Bobby Grant, Greg Vielle, and Robert Walton, your top 5 in the Cup standings. And Bo, after tonight, we've only got 6 races to go before the playoffs. Only going to see these cars twice, 2 more times before we hit the playoffs. The Cup Championship is, if you can't win the overall and you want to try to go for a series, you really have to start putting your head down now to try to get as many points as you can to try to win that individual series title.
Yeah, things are really heating up. We were actually talking a lot during our team meetings at Champion Motorsports this week about what drivers need to run what events to make sure that they're in position to get into the playoffs, because you have to run at least 9 events, and we're having some drivers who, even though they've been burning it up of late, they might have missed a couple races in the beginning, so they are picking races on the calendar to make sure that they can post up for them and to make sure that will allow them that ticket into the playoffs, and hoping a few that there's a couple guys that might miss an event. Something might come up because that'll be their easy ticket into that top of 16.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that will be worth noting, there is a new driver in the 8 here this week. It'll be Chuck Chambly. After some stuff that happened after the Kansas race, Robert Barber will no longer be participating in the championship this season. He has been replaced, as I had just said, by Chuck Chambly in the 8. So that is also worth noting. So these guys now just heading around here for the final 30 seconds here before we get into this race. A 60-lap race here tonight. Stage breaks will be at the end of lap 15 and at the end of lap 30. So, Bo, it leaves half the race before we actually pick a winner in that third stage.
Yeah, and I have to say really quick, kind of an aside, want to thank the Speed Kings Motorsports team for their professionalism this past week in the tough situation with that 8 car. They were consummate professionals, and we were able to get that 8 car right back out on track without any weeks missed. So we're happy to have not only the 8 car back, but the rest of the Speed Kings team still here. And as for your question, I mean, I think that's what you're going to have to look for now with so many guys that were already getting EOLs from last week, but also guys that didn't put those qualifying laps down that are quick. I think they're just going to wait. They're going to back it down, work together to keep off of each other, and wait for these guys to get enough incidents that their tie rods are hanging out their trunks, and then they'll start working their way through the field to go and get that W.
So we will see how this unfolds here tonight. We'll take a look now at the starting grid here for tonight's race. Starting on pole, the brand new driver, Daniel Silvestri for RD Esports with a time of 1 minute 484, sits on the pole. JD Woodward 3/4 of a second off in second on the front row. Jake Waltman and Ryan Truex will make up row number 2 with Bobby Grant and Thomas Aaron in row number 3. Row 4 goes to Roger Diebold and James Sharik. Mark McCrary and Matt Cherry make up row 5. Cameron Henn and Greg Maconi sit in row 6. Ryan Zunk and Chase Leahy make up row 7. Dustin Stallings and Tyler Truex, first time we've seen him in a while as well, make up row 8. Scott Formosa and Steven Sharik in row 9. Steven Lischinski and Vince Burns in row number 10. Row 11 will go to Robert Walton and let me go back. Robert Walton and Cole Kentadoris, Nikolai Jardone, and Chuck Chambly in row 12. Row 13, we'll see Ryan Harrison and Tommy Allen Jr., Greg Vielle and David Hall in row 14. Matt Garrett and Seth Gadjadoris in row 15, with Justin Clapper and Anthony Burleson making up the final positions. I believe it was the 89 of Cole Gedgedoris, Anthony Burleson in the 79, and Justin Clapper in the 63 that will be getting EOL penalties after Kansas to start this race. Weather conditions, not too much wind here today, only about 2 miles an hour. Track temperature, however, well, ambient temperature 80 degrees. Track temperature, though, through the roof, Bo. 130-degree track temperature. That's going to make this race even more difficult for these guys.
Tires, and what tires? I mean, that's some serious heat out there. I mean, we're not in a desert, but it might as well be with those kind of track temps. And, I mean, I am just so happy to be up here with you guys to just watch these guys suffer. But it's going to be a great race regardless. I tell you, when I saw them grid up sideways like that, I was waiting to see where are all the drivers standing on the wall like Speed Racer? Are they going to just run up and hop in the cars and that's how they were going to start the race? Seeing those cars staggered like that, like, yeah, I thought we were going to get a Le Mans start. I was freaked out there for a minute. That was a weird update.
And Le Mans coming up very, very soon. Here in real life, actually.
Father's Day weekend.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So it is coming. Tony, one heck of a race getting set to unfold here for us. It is, let me just be sure before I say this. Yes, it is. It is the final road course race before we hit the playoffs. This is the final chance for some guys who maybe aren't as good at ovals to get some big time points. So you have to perform here if you want to make the chase.
Yeah, very much so. And, you know, it's about to get fun in the Queen City as the field working its way through the 3-4 complex. Pace car getting ready to duck on off. The only thing that's left for me to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, pop some popcorn because it's time to get it on in the Queen City. Race fans, it's showtime!
First group. Oh boy, JD Woodward really had a big slide coming out of the chicane. Everyone else behind him looked to have gotten through okay. Ryan Truex on the outside looking for that 5th position. Seth Gedgedoris, Ryan Zunk both coming out of pit road after pit starting. For those two, Ryan Harrison might have had a little bit of an off, but I'm sure now, Bo, again, you being a driver in this series, I'm wondering, I'm sure Justin White will have some leniency with JD Woodward because he clearly did switch lanes before he got to the line, but not necessarily under his own control.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see, and Justin White is always fair in those kind of scenarios, so we'll have to see what he rules on that, and we'll be listening for it. But I'm with you guys. I think he'll be all right. It's almost like, you know, you can see the punishment with the gap that's now created between him and the next guy. So, I mean, I think you got to let him go.
JD
and the leader just missed the bus stop.
Yes, he did. Boy. There goes Silvestri, and so did JD Woodward missed the bus stop as well. So Silvestri, who had a nice little lead built up, is now fallen back down to 4th position, just getting passed down by Ryan Truex. Truex having to chase down Bobby Grant. As boy, Tony, cold tires, cold brakes here on the first lap, very easy to do.
Very easy to do. And the other thing we're also hearing is as they're coming through the banking on the oval portion of the track, you can hear those diffusers just scrape.
Yeah, that was one of the big updates. And again, there are several updates here, visual updates and actual physical updates of the kind. One we'll also see here tonight. We'll jump on board with Jake Waltman. We'll take a look here at that right. I'm in the complete wrong section from where I thought I was. There is where I want to be. There you see the foot cam working here for Jake Waltman as he heads through down the back straightaway, I would have to assume at this point, and that's unfortunate. It's not working the way I thought it was. We'll go to Ryan Truex because this is the camera I was actually looking for. Looking inside the right front wheel well, and Bo, one of the visual updates that came up is you could actually see the graining on these tires now. This is going to be something to see. We're just 2 laps into the run, a lap and a half into this run now. You can see the brake rotor is glowing a little bit already, but very interesting to see what this tire looks like right now as compared to maybe going into the second stage.
Yeah, I think it's going to look really interesting going into the second stage, especially when you talk about the heat that we have out here and the fact that we don't have a lot of guys with major road course prowess. So there's going to be locking up the brakes. They're going to be skidding the tires. I mean, already just looking back in the pack, like further back in the 20s, you got guys right on top of each other that are having to lock those brakes up because maybe somebody's entering a brake zone a little earlier than they normally do. And that's the kind of stuff that is just going to wear these puppies out.
Justin Clapper in the 63, Greg Vielle in the 26 as Vielle runs 3 and 4 a little bit wide. Anthony Burleson there as well. And remember, Clapper and Burleson started from the back with EOL penalties. Clapper already up 14 spots. Burleson up 11. As it looks like Ryan Harrison may have had an issue. There he is coming out of turn number 4 in that Toyota. And we'll go back and we'll try to take a look at as much of these as possible as we see Greg Maconi now, who also had a little bit of an off. He's going around David Hall, that for 22nd.
Meanwhile, up in front, Silvestri has caught Grant. So a good recovery drive so far for the 97. Now he's got some heat into those Goodyears, starting to make some headway again.
And Dave Silvestri just put down the fastest lap. He's coming back up through there after blowing through that bus stop.
Yep, he's gotten the heat back in those tires. He's gotten the heat in the brakes. As we ride on board with him, he is about as smooth as possible, not just on the racetrack, but you could hear on the gears as well. That car is zero drama at this point, as he can see the 2 drivers in front of him that he needs to get around.
All over the back bumper of Bobby Grant right now. Now, those guys were the 2 fastest in the hot lap session, so I would expect Grant to not give it up easy.
Oh, he's may not have a choice here as Silvestri backs out of it. Going to get him here on the crossover on the back end of the bus stop. And with that outside line, Bo, he's going to have a little bit of momentum. Doesn't look like it's going to carry, but he will have position. Once we get into the infield chicane, he's got the inside line, and Grant is actually going to send it through, and he'll make the position stick. Not for long.
Those two guys racing side by side. That's let Ryan Truex close right in on them, as is Thomas Aaron.
And we all know what Ryan Truex can do. I mean, he won this race last year in pretty dominating fashion. He was about a whole circle around the earth ahead of them as Bobby Grant slips up there chasing after Silvestri, and Silvestri gets that position.
So Silvestri now sets his sights on Jake Waltman, and these guys were about a second off of Waltman. In just that short time of battling, they have fallen already 3 seconds off of Jake Waltman. So Waltman doubles his lead just in those couple of corners of Silvestri and Grant battling, and now Ryan Truex looking to set his sights on Bobby Grant. Thomas Aaron starting to fall off just a little bit, and just inside the top 10, Cameron Henn looks to make a move around the outside of James Sharik in the 37.
And I'll say, guys, credit me with one you can take to the bank. Thomas Aaron, that guy is going to get up there to the front. I'm going to watch him a lot this race. You guys talked earlier about someone that may not be the best on ovals or has had terrible luck at ovals, but is a rock star on these road courses. That's Thomas Aaron. He is going to find a way up to the front, I can promise you.
He won at COTA, didn't he?
Yes,
oh, yeah.
Swept at COTA, swept both stages, and took the race win in wild fashion at Circuit of the Americas earlier this year.
Yeah, that was a fun final lap there.
Yes, it absolutely was. As Cameron Henn tries to find his way now back up towards James Sharik. Justin Clapper slow through the bus stop. He'll be forced to stop and allow those positions to go by. And just in front of him, that's Cole Gadjadoris in the 89 that goes spinning through the bus stop.
Now, if
Hey.
you spin like that, does that give you? I mean, at that point, I guess that count as your full stop, right?
I believe so. I think he came to a full stop regardless, just to make sure. And we saw Clapper take the full stop. Just behind them, Chuck Chambly in the 8 also took the full stop coming out of the bus stop. And while we have a little bit of a break here as Matt Cherry in that Loves Ford trying to fend off Chase Leahy in the 34. Let's go back and try to suss out what's happened here during this race since we've gone green. Here is Greg Maconi. This is on the first lap. Actually, no, this is before the green flag flew. I think that might actually be Maconi asking for an EOL.
He did.
Yep, so there we go. So let's see. This is Matt Cherry on the first lap. Coming into turn 5. Jumps over that curb. Slides. Doesn't look like he hit the wall. And then this is that bus stop incident with Silvestri and Woodward on the first lap. Silvestri got in there way too hot and went through the bus stop. Ended up taking the right to not jump over the curbing. Chase Leahy going through the final corner. Locking up big time going through the bus stop. Chuck Chambly on lap 4. Battling with Greg Maconi down the back straightaway. Gives the position up. And then promptly blows the chicane. And this is what we saw with Justin Clapper and Cole Gadgedoris. So here's Clapper behind the 12 of Maconi. Brake rotors glowing red. And then just behind that, there is Cole Gadgedoris spinning off. So now back to live pictures. Bobby Grant still with Ryan Truex right behind him, and Silvestri has closed that gap, which was over 3 seconds to Waltman, has now closed down to about 3/4 of a second, Tony.
That it has, and it shows the type of talent that we've got in this field tonight, that Silvestri was able to reel in Waltman that quickly. Are we going to see Silvestri for the remainder of the season? Time will tell, but he's definitely shown his prowess here on the road course tonight.
Oh, and look at Bobby Grant, too. We were just talking about how him, or Silvestri, Ryan Truex, and Thomas Aaron were battling it out, and now about Bobby Grant's got by Ryan Truex and Thomas Aaron is up to 3rd place. I mean, he's moving, and I like seeing it.
And lapping quicker than Ryan Truex behind him as well.
Well, I mean, Bobby Grant needs to have a good day because from what I've been told, it's been just a miserable day for him. He actually had to fly earlier today on Spirit Airlines. And anybody that's ever flown on Spirit, you know just the type of miserable day he has. And I don't blame Bobby for being hungover right now.
It is straight up not a good time.
No. I would rather shove bamboo shoots into my toenails.
As we look off the back of his car, looking at Ryan Truex, you can see just how close these guys can get to each other. A little bit of an incident towards the back. David Hall in the 21. Looks like he may have just blown the chicane. Nikolai Jardone has Jardone has quite a significant amount of damage, and there's the damage model at work in that number 11. And we'll take a look and see what happened to Nikolai. He's going out onto into the bus stop, clips the curb and right into the fence.
I believe to go with what's on that car, that would be a biff pow.
You can see that left front suspension dangling there. Big part of the new damage model for these cars.
He's just saying that Corey LaJoy shouldn't be painting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the Turtles. He should be painting Batman on there.
Oh, there you go.
Weird flex, but okay.
Very weird flex.
As we're getting ready for a battle for the lead here, as Jake Waltman only about 0.3 of a second ahead of Daniel Silvestri. And again, Silvestri qualified 0.7 of a second faster than anybody else, blew the chicane on the first lap. That number 97 is incredibly quick. Had a little bit of a mess up there going through the bus stop, Bo, it looked like. Has cost him about 0.5 second.
Yeah, well, you have to wonder, he's been working his way up through the field so hard since missing the bus stop earlier. What are those tires doing? What do they feel like right now? Are they starting to get overheated?
The lap car of Chambly doing right now, I think, is the more poignant question. Is Chambly
running his race?
So was Alex Albon at Monaco.
Shots fired.
As Bobby Grant goes around the outside of him, and that'll give Grant a little bit of a reprieve, as now Ryan Truex stuck behind Chambly.
We know that irritates you as a leader when you've got a lap car in front of you that does not want to go a lap down, and then once he's finally a lap down, all the third, fourth, fifth place guys, oh yeah, you guys go ahead. It's too late for me now.
Silvestri very, very close to the back end of Jake Waltman here. It's a little bit closer than what he was this last time through. He's not going to have enough space or pace to get him going into the bus stop here. Looking for a better exit, though, and I think he got it.
He did. He's going to be in the slipstream, and he's probably not going to try to make the move until they get back into the infield section, because he's just not close enough to make it happen through this chicane.
Defensive line there out of Waltman coming through turn 14 as David Hall gets out of the way.
A little bit of a wall rub there for the 97.
I thought I saw that. I wasn't quite sure if it was just on my end.
We've seen Waltman getting incredibly close to those walls as well, especially coming back onto the racetrack in NASCAR 1. And a big jump of the curb there from Waltman brings Silvestri right back.
Let's clean the brake dust out.
Yeah, go with that thought.
Smack the front end, why not? As now Justin Clapper getting in the way. That's Robert Walton catching the wall.
There's two kinds of ways to move out of the leader's way.
Oh boy.
Boy.
That wasn't it for Clapper. As he almost wrecked both leaders right there. As now Waltman getting under him. Silvestri following through. Oh, and a big wiggle out of Waltman coming out of there. And I believe Silvestri, yes, he did. He caught the wall coming out of the chicane. And he is slow.
He followed the 06 right into that wall, and I think the 97 got a little bit more damage out of the deal.
I think so. As that brings him back to Grant and Truex. We'll take a look and see what happened there in just a moment. We'll try to go to it now. There's Walton. This is going to be part of the issue with replays here tonight with SDK. As here we go. There's the 06 of Waltman going through the chicane. See the big slide. Oh, the 97 caught the back of Waltman, and that kind of threw him left into that inside wall.
97 bangs the wall just before they come back out onto the tri-oval, or back out onto the main oval again. Is Waltman just got in trouble with the principal.
Uh-oh.
He's being sent to the office post-race.
Walton or Waltman?
Robert Walton.
Walton.
And I can see that the tower has muted the man.
We'll check during the stage break what happened, as here comes Daniel Silvestri down into pit road. I think the damage a little bit too much for him right now, figuring, hey, let's come into pit, let's get this fixed. Everyone else is going to come in during the stage, not going to lose too much track position. It's the same strategy that Ryan Truex deployed at COTA that worked out well for him.
Yeah, it's really smart play for everything that he's had to go through in this first stage. You know, at this point, let's recount our chickens and see how many eggs we can get in the second stage.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially as many times as he's taken the paint off the walls here. I'm surprised those Goodyear Eagles had any lettering left on them by the time he got to pit road.
I couldn't believe that his tie rods were still in good shape. We have seen how, with this new damage model, it doesn't take a lot to get those tires to be doing the chicken funny dance, and they were in good shape, it seemed.
Roger Diebold had an off going through the infield tri-oval, and now he's going to slow down and allow Tyler Truex, around him. There is Tyler going through. That's P6 and 7 that those two were fighting for, as Bobby Grant now in serious danger of losing P2 to Ryan Truex, as Truex has the inside line. And Truex will clear him, it looks like. Yes, he will, going into the infield chicane. Solid pass there for the 56, gets him up into second.
Ryan showing where you want to make passes out on this track.
Who would have thought the real-life driver actually knows how to pass at places like this?
Who'd have thunk it? Go figure, right? But, you know, the one thing I'm noticing is the attitude of this car. And, you know, Frank, you being a Formula One fan, you notice how in those cars there's brake towards the front, with the front being lower than the back. Not so much with this car here tonight, as actually the front end is sitting higher than the rear end. Just based off the tops of the wheel openings, you can see it in like a rearward squat, almost like what do they call it, the Carolina squat that idiots are doing to pickup trucks now. That's kind of what we're seeing here, and it's compounding the fact that the diffuser at the back of this thing is hanging lower. That just adds to the problem.
It also does help channel the air through. But as we head through the chicane on the infield for the final time, Jake Waltman will take stage number 1 here from Charlotte tonight.
It's a good win for him.
Especially after having such a good run in the early portion of the race at Kansas, and then wrecking out during the second stage. The man who currently leads the Cup Series point standings and currently sits second in the overall point standings, getting a big stage win here tonight. Tonight's race is sponsored by TLC Incorporated. TLC Incorporated is a Maryland, D.C., and Northern Virginia's premier service provider for irrigation, landscaping, landscape lighting, drainage service, learn how to read, and garage makeovers. In just one day, TLC can turn your home into a showcase with a new water-saving lawn sprinkler system, an energy-efficient landscape lighting system, or brand new garage floor that will last you a lifetime. Imagine all of the possibilities if you just gave your yard a little TLC. And we will now hear from the president of the company. We will be right back after this. Stage number 1 in the books. Here at Charlotte, Jake Waltman, your winner.
Hey, Bob Carr here with the Bob Carr Show. In this episode, we're going to be talking about drainage and the problems that folks have during the summer months with nightly, weekly thunderstorms we all get. If you get a thunderstorm and we get a couple inches of rain tonight, how's your lawn or yard looking? Does it look like a cesspool of water? At TLC, we offer 3 different typical solutions for your drainage needs. One is surface. That's where we put collection boxes in. If it's one section of your yard, get the water to go into these collection boxes. From there, we pipe it out with 4-inch PVC underground drainage pipes to the street or to a storm drain. Number 2 is where we use subsurface. It'd be a combination of a surface box, French drain underneath, and then take it out to the street, get it to a low area, and out so it drains out properly so the water's done and gone. The third, which is a good sized investment, is involved where we do the first 2, and then we take it to a collection pit, a box underground, and then insert a pumping system. We have to pump the water up and out to the street properly. So give us a call here at the office, 410-721-2342, or hit the link below for more information.
Back here from the Charlotte Roval, first round of pit stops are complete, and as we had thought, Daniel Silvestri, by pitting during the stage, has now come out with the race lead. And just before we went to break, you may have noticed there was a car not in the right spot as far as the pit lane is concerned. This is Bobby Grant coming out of pit road, and yeah, I think he might have forgotten that pit exit is a very hard left here, not necessarily going straight on the way it would be at the oval. Take a look a little bit further back and see how he got himself into that predicament. There we go, left side's drop. And, yep, just go straight on. Whoops. Yeah, we don't go that way here.
Well, and you know what? He did it with a lot more grace than I did in practice. In practice, I just hit that thing at 40 miles an hour trying to see if it would move.
And
it didn't.
I was going to say, how'd that work for you?
Well, just remember, when we talk about race cars, a tight condition means you hit the wall front end first. A loose condition means you back the car into the wall. Horsepower determines how fast you hit the wall, and torque determines how far you take the wall with you once you hit it.
Do you have an answer for when I only have roof damage? Because that's happened.
No, we don't have an answer for that.
I do have an answer for that, but I can't say it because Frank will get mad at me. And I promise to be a good boy.
We also don't have an answer for what happens when your car is higher than the actual grandstand.
I believe I can fly.
And hit.
Steven Lashinsky comes down pit road. He was in second, and worth noting there with Bobby Grant, even with the pit exit blunder, the cones for pit exit are right after the first pit stall, so it's right before you make that hard left turn. So even with Grant's detour, he will be able to maintain his position. He will restart in fourth now with Lashinsky coming down pit road.
That's his one gimme, you know. He's used up all of his luckies.
Okay. Well, unless he does it again.
Fair.
As the start of this race, the start of this stage will look pretty comparable to what we saw at the start of the race. Silvestri on point, with Jake Waltman now flanking him on the outside. J.D. Woodward has been relegated to the second row. And Bobby Grant will head into, will be actually a position higher than where he was from the start of this race. Right now, biggest mover of the race goes to the 79, pardon me. There's dyslexia kicking me. Anthony Burleson plus 15 as we sit right now. Burleson forced to have an EOL at the start of this race. After a penalty incurred from Kansas last week, Tony decided just not to qualify. He's worked his way up into the 17th spot.
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
those feels. So you go ahead.
No, by all means.
I know those feels. Tony has had a couple rough weeks of late, and whether it be coming back onto the track or getting a little rough with some of the guys, I can tell you it's really not been any fault of his. He and I've raced with each other a lot, and we've just been getting dumb luck back there, especially some of those mile and a halves, where if somebody washes up the track, there's chances are the 79 is up there getting some of that wash on his left side.
Catching a piece of someone else's dumpster fire, I believe is what you call it.
Yeah. I like the way you say it better.
So it will be Daniel Silvestri leading the field down here to this green flag. And apologies for, I noticed the stream quality kind of dipped a little bit there during that first stage. Week 13 blunders here is what we blame it on right now. There are going to be some frame drops here. As I had mentioned during the Open, SDK is going to be having some issues here tonight and has. So we just power through it this week, and next week it should be good to go. And speaking of good to go, these guys are good to go. 11 laps here for stage number 2. Silvestri takes the green, and again, another wiggle on that outside line. Waltman doing the same thing that Woodward did on the initial start.
As they're still doubled up behind both of them as they're trying to get it sorted out. Oi, Truax.
Truex trying to get back around Bobby Grant.
Tyler's pointing the wrong way.
Yeah, there's a couple cars back there that are still sitting.
That's Tyler Truex and Ryan Zunk in the 23 Bud Light Ford. And Tyler Truex waiting for Zunk to get rolling here, as I believe the caution has flown. I don't believe that's a glitch on my system.
No, they threw that.
So the caution is back out here, and this is the first full course caution that we've seen on a
And
road
you'll see it
course in
honestly
quite some time.
We have a lot of times, if you'll have that many guys involved, race control will go ahead and throw it, even though you might not always see that at a road course. I like seeing it there, mainly because being up here in the booth, I like seeing these restarts.
It's quite...
From the looks of it, cold tires, Tyler Truax caught the curbing going into one and snapped see you bye.
Yeah, we're going going to see it right here. Somebody else was around at the start there.
That was Paul Gadjadors in the 89.
Yeah, but we'll get this view here. As there's Zunk, and Tyler's already gone. So let's go back to the very beginning here. Let's start this whole transfaction over again. 89 in that Red Bull machine apparently is the first one to go. Oh no, Vince Burns almost catching the wall, and then the 89, the 11 and the 13, Tyler Truex, there he goes. And just as he's about to get it straightened out, a wild Ryan Zunk appears.
And Zunk did the right thing. He just locked it down, parked it there till race control cleared him. Everybody passed, and nobody got hurt.
So that was about 3 separate incidents there. And yeah, it looked like he may have caught that sausage curb. Did the 69.
And we love seeing when the drivers lock it down like that too and let the other cars by. We've had issues with that throughout the season where guys don't want to lose all those spots before the yellow comes out or when the yellow is coming out. So they'll just try to get it back going again, and then that just causes all types of other melee. So love seeing Zunk lock it down there.
Yep, catches the curb, and Ryan Zunk has entered the chat.
Kind of wondering what's going on with Silvestri right now is...
Silvestri is... unless they've caught the pace car, which, I don't know, they have not. Now there he goes. They were speeding to try to catch the pace car, is what was happening there. So this field very strung out from first to last. Say Ryan Truex in 25th. There's a minute and 6 seconds separating this field. So this is going to severely cut down the amount of racing time we're going to see here in Stage 2. And with that, Tony, I believe we might have another word from our sponsor here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, Frank. And, you take a look at the tail end of this field, you got Ryan Truex, who just had big issues. It looks like we've got a couple hose draggers at the back of this field right now. And, they're trying to stay out of trouble, do the best they can, get those cars locked down when they do spin. But they don't want to be caught dragging their hose through the field, and you shouldn't either, with a brand new smart lawn sprinkler system from our good friends at TLC. That would retire the old-fashioned hose, shelve it for good, and your lawn will be luscious and green in just one day.
Hey, Bob Carr here. Hey, Bob Carr here with the Bob Carr Show. Today, we're going to be talking about the 3 biggest issues when it comes to drainage on your property. Number 1 is downspouts and surface water. That's the biggest issue we see in our metropolitan area. Downspouts and surface area. Number 2 is water that's trapped on your property. That's where we install a French drain. Dig a trench, gravel in, we wrap it up around a piece of perf pipe, and then we exit that water away, up and out of that area. The third, and this is where it gets very tricky, and you have to have somebody that has been there and done this, is where you have water that's trapped underground in a low area, there's no way to get that out and down out to a storm drain. That's where we have to install a vessel underground to collect it, and we install a pump to pump it up and out. That's the 3 biggest issues we see in lawn drainage, in landscape drainage in our metropolitan area. If you need help with your drainage, give us a call here at the office, 410-721-2342. Appreciate you watching the Bob Carr Show, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you once again, Bob Carr, and he'll be popping up a couple more times here during the broadcast tonight as the field double files up and gets set to go for what will be 7 laps of racing here in stage number 2. The field has caught back up. And once again, it'll be Daniel Silvestri leading the field around. So after about 3 or 4 separate little incidents there, on that restart, the caution was thrown to allow everyone to get back up and together. And we will try to get a solid run here for stage 2, Bo, for the short amount of time we'll be racing in it.
Yeah, well, now you get to see what these cars can do on a short run. Everybody was anticipating on that first stage a long run, or at least hoping we would have such a thing. Now they're pretty much guaranteed a short run here in this second stage. And I'm sure a couple guys are thinking, there's probably going to be another spin on this restart, because now a lot of guys are like, I've got a handle on this thing. I know how to go around these turns. And that's the kind of stuff that's going to bite them in the, what would you say, rear diffuser. Yeah, that's definitely going to happen. I sense it. I'd love to know what Silvestri's doing right now. What are you, saving fuel? It's not a super speedway. Come on.
Fair to say, Tony, that these guys, knowing it's going to be a shorter stage, are going to be less inclined to save the tires and go for it?
Let's
not go that far.
Hey, I just want to say, season 13 is going great for iRacing. I literally just watched the pace car do a side wheelie on its left tires.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen it jumping. We've seen it going backwards. We've seen it just straight
seen it
up
take
Tokyo
down
drifting.
walls.
Yep. When you broadcast, you see a lot of things that you're not
This one
expecting
talented
to see.
Mustang.
It absolutely is. The Porsche's not
Drive
that bad
through
either.
Jersey barriers.
The Porsche's not that bad either. So it'll be Waltman and Silvestri again. Interesting to see if Waltman has the same issues that he had during the last restart. It's been 2 for 2 for the outside line spinning the tires. As Silvestri getting into the series restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. Now we are racing once again. Waltman gets through it successfully.
As does JD Woodward, as he's now side by side with the 14, hauling it off into turn number 1. No quarter asked for, no quarter given at the front of this piece, as they are running stem to stern right now.
A little bit of a wiggle out of Matt Cherry going through turn 1 there on that restart, and Silvestri now has a chance to really stretch his legs for the first time since the opening lap, but Waltman not giving him any sort of leeway.
Oi.
He's still right there. Vince Burns having a moment. Off a little bit in turn 5 as Cole Gadjadoris really had to lock it down to keep from running into the back of Dustin Stallings in the 5.
Altogether, a pretty clean entry through the infield, though, for the whole field. None of what we had that last restart.
Absolutely. We'll see what
Kind of
Silvestri...
refreshing.
And Silvestri will lead a full lap here under green flag conditions.
The monkey is off his back.
Yes, it is. Bobby Grant right on the back, the rear diffuser of the 47. Coming down into the infield chicane. Boy, Waltman, you saw that in front. Waltman really having to lock it down. Bobby
Contact.
Grant will take the position for third.
That's one way to do it.
There's some beating and banging going on there.
There is.
It's a Saturday night roller derby.
Well, it's a little early in the race to send it like that, though. You know, that JD may have some Reese's for him later to chew on.
I don't think those are going to be Reese's.
Oh, they will be melted, though.
They're going to be more like morsels.
Well, and this is what I was saying, knowing that there's less time in the stage.
Matt Cherry problem.
There he is in the 54.
Yep.
And yup, that right front suspension is gone on that 54. You see it bouncing and dragging once he comes back around here
Hey.
into the wall, and that's not an easy place to get the car around.
especially considering that the car's not. You got to turn left, and the car doesn't want to go.
Cherry, I want to go fast. I want a right front suspension that works, I think is more what he's saying right now, as he's right in the racing line, forcing Tyler Truex to take evasive action, and Chuck Chambly right there as well.
Oh, very good.
Cuts through the chicane as he should have.
I don't think he's going to make it to pit road.
He doesn't have much more to go as far as who's left to pass him.
No, I seriously don't think he can get the car to turn onto pit road.
He's going to have to slow it down and hook it. There he goes. He's hooking it now to the inside line.
Maybe.
And he got there.
All right.
Sped, but he got there.
I said it'll be interesting to see what race control feels about that, considering he blew through the chicane. Even though he's injured, he did not come to that complete stop. I'm not sure if he came to a complete stop if he wouldn't have brought out a caution, though.
No penalty.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Okay,
to be fair, he really didn't have the ability to take that chicane with any proper speed.
Correct.
Yep, race control just announced it exactly how you just explained it. Damage repair, could not turn the car. No penalty for blowing the chicane.
I mean, sitting on pit road right now, that's penalty enough.
Yeah, he's going to be there for a little bit, considering that right front suspension still is not back on the car.
Oh, and remember, guys, we no longer have fast repairs. That used to be
Right.
part of our league, but we felt that we've had enough of it. Guys were taking
Formosa's
advantage
around.
of the mulligan. Oh, yes, he is.
Scott Formosa around backwards.
Oh,
And
got the
he's
same
up
deal.
damage.
His right front's gone as well. See it bouncing. And again, the damage model wreaking havoc here in this first race.
Caught the sausage curb, then caught the 3. Ouch.
3 of Matt Garrett. Right. See what happens here.
Yeah, that was the 3. Yeah.
Yep, too hot. Boy, completely jumped over that curb. And it wasn't the left front suspension that broke. He broke the suspension on the 3.
Yeah, it wasn't until Cherry tagged him that right front went by.
So it wasn't the impact with the hard solid object. It was the impact with the moving crumbleable object that broke the suspension, as Bobby Grant now having to really put the focus on is Ryan Truex is right there. Thomas Aaron also putting pressure on J.D. Woodward, this for the final spot in the top 5. Look at those brake rotors glowing red on all 3 of these cars.
The 8 of Chambly is in big trouble right now, as he's got right front suspension damage as well.
He's got front
My
damage
Chambly
as well.
is definitely in shambles.
There it is.
I see what you did there.
Gosh.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Very nice, solid battle here for the 5th spot. J.D. Woodward has it. Aaron and Diebold want it. Boy, Diebold getting quite close there to that back bumper.
Quiet day for Roger, honestly. Usually he's, right up there in the front, but really he's just kind of been in and out of the top 5 all day.
God, again.
What?
Oh, you didn't do that on purpose.
Yeah, I did.
I was going to say.
I was trying not to laugh.
When I said color commentator, I meant it.
Boy,
Frank,
did you ever.
Frank, aren't you glad
No.
he got two of us here?
No.
'Cause normally I'm the jokester and Frank's the straight man. Now I got Bo to help me with the jokes. This is awesome.
No, it's not.
Just wait till next week when it's him and me in the booth alone.
Well, that's different. The difference is I'm not there. Aaron locks up the tires.
And you're
going
missing
into
your
turn
favorite
1.
track next week at Gateway.
I am actually quite upset that I'm missing Gateway. I actually won a C fixed race there this past week as Diebold locks up big time and into the wall going into turn 3.
Ow.
Yeah, he definitely just animalized that left front.
Looks like everything's still attached.
No, everything is.
So that could have ended a lot more poorly than it did.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, his tie ride's still intact. Like, we've seen guys make less contact and they have issues, so he really lucked out there.
Absolutely did. As we look back, this is just inside the top 10. James Sharik in the 37 running in 9th. Mark McCreary in the 88 running in 10th. Lap time history between the two. What Sharik gained over the 2 laps prior, McCreary made up the last time around. Evenly matched these two appear to be. They're coming up on Greg Vial in the 26. Final lap of stage 2, by the way.
Restrie's gotten out to a 3.5-second gap over the 06 of Jake Waltman. And Waltman's another. Say again?
Make it 4 1/4 and growing.
Oh, yeah, no, he just stretched it out there. Bobby Grant, another 2 seconds behind Waltman. And Ryan Truex right there within striking distance to get one of the top 3 spots, but he's running out of time as they're on the backstretch already, and caution's going to fly at the end of this lap.
Yes, it will. Just a couple more corners to go, and Daniel Silvestri will have won the second stage in his ThunderClap Stock Car iRacing Series career. Jumps over the 2 curbs. Daniel Silvestri, winner of stage number 2 here at the TLC Incorporated 220 at the Charlotte Roval. Jake Waltman comes home second, and this time Bobby Grant does not break to the pressure of Ryan Truex, as Grant will come home in the 3rd position. A couple of guys having some pretty major incidents with a lot of damage. Scott Formosa being one of them, Matt Cherry being another. And Bo, those damaged cars headed to the garage, and
Well,
I'm sure they're looking for a little bit of help with the flooring in those garages.
I tell you, I don't know if you guys smelled that, but it is Daniel Silvestri stinking up the show. And I know that Matt Cherry, he's the one that's the pit boss, but I think Daniel Silvestri is the one cooking this field right now. And he's doing so in his brand new TLC garage. Yeah, as a lot of these guys head for the garage for the night, I just want to remind everyone out there in the East Coast area that TLC Incorporated is the premier sponsor of our garage area. All of TLC's garage floors come with a lifetime warranty guaranteed. How do they do it? Well, it's because prep work is 80% of achieving that perfect garage floor, and TLC makes it count. Throw a new coat of custom colored flakes on that old concrete floor and realize that a TLC garage floor gives you more. We'll be right back after this, folks, from Bob Carr's awesome message.
Hey, Bob Carr here with another episode of the Bob Carr Show. Today we want to talk about the latest and greatest in the technology of lawn sprinkler controllers and how they've come from electric mechanical from 30 years ago to now it's Wi-Fi based, and you can dial in from a satellite your weather and make your own property controller the own weather station. We can predict from the National Weather Service when it's going to rain and already have that figured in. So if you're going to get a lot of rain tomorrow, this controller won't let it come on today and or tomorrow, so this will save you a lot of water. So it's not like the old days where when you had a rain sensor connected and it turned it off the day of the rain. Now we're predicting when it's going to rain and how much. So all that's now is computed in through the software, through the brains of this smart controller. So you want to take advantage of this. This will save you on your water bill on an average of 50%. Imagine cutting your water bill and or your wastewater bill in half. So this will pay for itself in one season, the investment of this smart controller. So take advantage of this. Take us less than 2 hours to get this installed on your property, program set up, and you're done with it. You can run it off your smartphone. We can run it for you if you need us to help you with it. Give us a call here at the office, 410-721-2342. We'll be glad to set you up an appointment and get this installed. It's painless. And again, thanks for watching the Bob Carr Show.
Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field worked its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, the rocket! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the West Coast and ThunderClap Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Welcome you back live under caution after stage number 2 has come to a close. Here from Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Roval, a couple of guys with some interesting pit exits. You saw there live Daniel Silvestri have an issue coming out of pit road. One that we will take a look at right now. As soon as I find it. As soon as I find it. I said as soon as I find it. Well, yep, here we go. So here is Silvestri coming out of pit road. Watch the 97. And also watch the 38 of Roger Diebold have issues. There you see the hard cut that he has to make. And just got on it a little bit too hard. Roger Diebold also having issues on pit exit. Mark McCreary also having to go straight on at pit exit too. So this pit road seeming to be just as treacherous as the racetrack itself.
And through all of that, the 63 of Justin Clapper unfortunately sped on pit road as well. That happened when I was getting my insider information, so it's probably my fault.
So it's your fault.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely my fault.
But on a positive note, Tyler Truex just went from the outhouse to the penthouse.
Yep, Tyler Truex and Cameron Henn both electing not to pit during this round of pit stops. They came into pit just as Daniel Silvestri did at the end of the stage. So Truex and Henn come away with that tire advantage. Matt Garrett, who drove through pit road during that round of pit stops, I'm sure with the expectation of coming out in the lead to try to get a lap led. will now come down pit road and fall all the way to the back of the field. So it'll be Tyler Truex and Cameron Henn, 1 and 2, to begin stage number 3.
Well, and remember, I was talking earlier in our show about that 57 and about how he's a bit of a road course ringer. He had some issues with Tommy Allen early in this race that are still heated conversations, I hear. But fortunately enough, he's got himself up into P2, and I look to see if the 57 can't keep that bucked up energy Chevrolet up there.
We'll see certainly what he can do, as a lot of seasons coming to an end here as the summer is fast approaching, which means season 1 for 2 season year leagues is also coming to a close. We just had the USRA and the KMM New Gen Cup Series end this last week. The Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series will be running round number 4 on Friday night. They will be at Talladega. That will be a lone show on Friday night. A lone show on Saturday. The Super Late Model AI Series will run round number 4 from Myrtle Beach. An incredible run to the finish at Myrtle Beach this week upcoming. That will premiere on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the first of 4 coming up on Sunday, the penultimate round of the iFormula Championship, the Dutch Grand Prix from Zandvoort, will air at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. And then right after that, the ISNF Cup Series will run round number 1 of the playoffs from Michigan. That will be a 5:30 p.m.
Actually, round number 2.
Oh, round 2, pardon me. From of the playoffs. That will be on Sunday as well. Also, Fuel and the Sunday Night NASCAR Series this upcoming Sunday night. So with leagues starting to drop on off as they end their seasons, still a lot of racing coming up on Wednesday nights. Is still 6 more races to go before the playoffs, and then a 10-race playoff. We have a long ways yet to go, Bo, in this season.
I tell you, that stacked schedule that you guys have over there at SRM, I tune in anytime I can. It's awesome to watch. That's why you guys are the sights and sounds of the sim. It's always exciting to watch as we get ready to go green here in ThunderClap. We still got a ways to go in this race and in this season. It's going to be a lot of fun. So glad to have you guys on board.
We're so glad to be on board as 26 laps to go. Daniel Silvestri pushing Tyler Truex all the way through. Cameron Henn falling back now, going from 2nd all the way down to 5th right here as the caution has come out.
Sure, that'll be my fault too.
Yep, another run, and there's Justin Clapper. Greg Vielle also involved in that. So yet another restart incident. And we will take a look and see what happened there. It looks like it started with Greg Vielle. There's Vielle in that purple and highlighter yellow car. Last car right before that split. Does the same exact thing Tyler Truex did. And then Justin Clapper locks on the brakes, turns it hard left to avoid running into him nose to nose. That's quite a thing for Clapper. We'll take a look at his point of view. It's Tommy Allen Jr. slow on the inside there. Vielle's already spun around. Oh, no, Justin Clapper was going around as well.
Well, remember, he'd gotten that speeding penalty, so really unfortunate for the 63, who was flirting with that top 15 for that second stage. Now this just compounds his issues.
It absolutely is. You see the 24 of Tommy Allen just in front of him for the running in the 25th position. Is see the damage on the 26 of Vielle. I think he's dragging the right front as well.
Could be.
On that
I know
car.
that front end's about as caved in as a pug-nosed dog.
And no, he's fine on that right front.
That radiator ain't gonna last the rest of the race, though.
I wouldn't expect it to. And just looking through here.
If Chevy could have their way with the Super Speedway package, that's how they would do the Camaro nose.
Oh, what, bent in backwards? The full.
Yeah, well, kind of like
full
a puzzle
cave-in?
piece. Yeah, that would be the indent, and then the rear bumper would be like the other part of the puzzle, and then they just stick together. And
It's not
anyway.
quite the Toyota, at least the Xfinity Toyota, where it comes to a point.
I can think some of the Ford drivers think that they've got a snowplow in the front of their car, considering that just about every wreck I've seen this season so far, it's been like a bull in a china shop.
It's not fair to paint all Ford drivers that way when Brad Keselowski's the only one actually doing it.
Fair.
But, Bo, you had brought up...
Guilty by association.
You had brought up a couple of incidents that Tommy Allen Jr. has been involved in here tonight, and you had mentioned a driver that he was kind of being combative with, and I think we'll take a look back. This happened back in stage 1 on lap 11. Not entirely sure what this incident is, but it is an incident nonetheless. As that's him slowing up. Allows Maconi to go. Also allows... Not sure who that was to go. Maybe this one here earlier on. This is during the caution at the stage. Him catching back up to the field. Slowing up, and there's a whole big slow up, a whole big to-do down that back straightaway. So not sure if we have an actual replay of the incident. But Tommy Allen, after winning at Daytona, has not had the run of luck here this season, and I'm sure he would be hoping for.
I mean, you're not wrong. And not really a big surprise, as Greg Vial going to bring the 26 pit side and had the Jackman do a cannonball on the nose of that car.
Yeah, that's one of those as to be expected decisions there. So we have 24 laps to go here in this stage as the field starts to, oh, maybe not. So at least I would think we're at 2 to go here. So that will leave us with 22 laps of racing. And Bo, I'm sure there's going to be a pit stop here some point in the near future. And guys like Roger Diebold, like Silvestri, like Bobby Grant, who have made mistakes on pit exit, Mark McCreary as well, they're not going to get the same mulligan that they got by pitting under the stage brake. If it's green, it's green.
Exactly. And you think back to how Ryan Truex has gotten close. He got close to that win in Coda, and how he won last year, and it was his dominance on green flag pit stops. Not easy to do at a road course when the field gets this spread out. I mean, you really have to be on the ball, and your pit crew has to be on the ball to make sure that you don't lose a lot of time and you can get back out on track well. And we've seen guys, like you said, not be able to do it during the yellow. So if we get ourselves a long green run here and green flag pit stops, guarantee it is going to affect the outcome of this race.
It's going to be very interesting to see, as these guys have not had to do a green flag pit stop here tonight. And I'm sure these guys have not had to do a green flag pit stop, or at least a pressure situation green flag pit stop since this update come out. And Tony, there have been a couple of new things that have come out with this car that have made going from the banking to the flat and vice versa very, very difficult. Sure, these guys may have practiced it, but when you're in a race situation, you have the energy all amped up, all ramped up to the nines, it becomes a completely different ball game from doing a high-speed pass into pit road during a practice session on new tires also.
It very much is a whole new ball game. And, you mentioned about the transition from the flat of the apron and the infield road course, in this case, back up onto the banking of the quad oval. We saw that wreaking hell last night at Phoenix, and that was when the first rollout came through, when they lowered that splitter, or the diffuser in the back, and nobody could figure out why the car was doing that until you mentioned to me earlier today that they had lowered the diffuser. And I mean, we saw guys looping it coming through the dog leg at Phoenix, and it used to be fair game, just go down there as far as you want. But on cold tires, you're flirting with disaster. And you're going to be flirting with disaster trying to get back off of pit road, getting onto pit road on old tires, especially with the new tire model that's out today. You're going to be flirting with disaster getting onto pit road, and you're going to be white-knuckling it for the first lap or so on fresh tires under speed.
We're riding on board on the nose of Cameron Hens, number 57, just to show you a clear as possible look at that rear diffuser. Now, when these cars came out initially, that diffuser was up against the bottom of the car, so it was virtually even with the end of the back bumper. They have now lowered that. They've added a couple of air channels, as you can see, under it to fit the actual specs of the current Cup cars. So the cars that we've been running this season and that we've seen run in other leagues, such as KMM, have not been running with this diffuser. And tonight is the first night that these guys are putting it into action. They'll have 2 more attempts at it later on this season to see how it affects as far as points racing goes. They'll take these cars to Vegas next, and then Richmond is the last race before the playoffs. But that diffuser, again, lowered, a couple more air channels going through it, so the whole rear end of the car, the stability and what you remember, Bo, completely different from what it was just a couple of days ago.
But, you guys call them diffusers. A lot of the mechanics call them diffusers. I call them equalizers, because it doesn't sometimes matter how much practice you have, how many laps you've turned. With a new car like this, a new build, a new season in iRacing, it's going to continue to wreak havoc for a lot of these guys, regardless of your I rating. And I'm interested to see it. I'm interested to be a part of it, because I'm probably going to be one of those guys spinning out through the dog leg.
Well, there you go.
Fair enough.
As we get set to resume racing here at the Charlotte Roval, Tyler Truex leading Daniel Silvestri. First time tonight, Silvestri restarting on the offline. Looks pretty good. Ends up getting into the wall going out of that chicane. That allows Jake Waltman to go through on the inside. Tyler Truex uncontested going into turn 1, but Waltman loses the back end coming through 1, keeps it out of the fence, but loses the spot.
Ooh, the 3 of Matt Garrett's around in Heartburn turn.
Yep, there he is, backing up onto the racetrack. Well, backing up into the line, that forcing Tommy Allen to put the binders on.
The hits just keep on coming for the 24.
Tyler Truex sliding through that corner. Turn 6. Silvestri right on him at 7 and 8. Here goes Silvestri for the race lead.
He's going to have him in this corner.
Yes, he is. Silvestri put up a time during that last stage that was very comparable to his qualifying time. As a matter of fact, a little bit quicker than his qualifying time. It was the fastest lap of the race by far, as Waltman now looks to the outside of Tyler Truex.
They're beating and banging through the bus stop, too, with the 63 and the 26 and the 5.
Take a look back there in just a second as Waltman gets the spot. There's Justin Clapper. He's gotten away scot-free. Dustin Stallings behind him. The 21 of David Hall there as well. 66 of Robert Walton a lap down. And the only car that is on his lap is the 80 of Scott Formosa, who's right there. Those two, the only two that can battle for the 26th position. As Greg Vielle goes sliding, and so does Justin Clapper. Caution out. Justin Clapper through the first bit of track again. And I'm sure you're humming because that is an intriguing caution call, I'm sure is what you're thinking.
Well, it started in front of him with the 26 and the 99 getting together, and it just about blocked that section of track off. So I really can't blame Justin White up in race control for throwing that caution.
Yeah, by the time I looked at it, I saw a bunch of cars going straight.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 99 made hard contact.
Yeah, it was Liszczynski going around completely. And we'll ride on board here with Justin Clapper once again. So there you see, there's the 99 jumping over the curb. The 26 gets a good run, and it looks like the 99 just got it too high in the rev range and spun out going straight. At least is what that looked like to me.
He got finished off by the 26, though.
Yes. So we'll see. There he goes. He jumps the curb. And it looked like the back end started to step out, and the 26 he was there. And Vielle, boy, he avoided some big-time damage. There were a couple of opportunities he had to clatter that wall and just missed.
Yeah, there could have been a lot more. It ended a lot more poorly than it did.
Well, and the 63 looks good. These purple and green cars are banging off of each other a lot, but they're still pretty clean. And I mean, the 63, I don't see any wheel damage, and really not even a lot of, I mean, a little bit on his passenger side, but that's not going to really hurt anything out here.
The damage he got on the passenger door.
That was from the last incident.
Yeah, that would have been, from the incident that brought the caution out just prior to the stage. Now, the incident you see there's a little bit of a seam on the left rear. That would be from this. Liszczynski's nose has gotten flattened up at the front of his Monster Jam number 99. And
he would have just gotten the 100% rule EOL. That's why he's backing up.
The incident limit.
Or, well, no, when it's your fault in the incident, you have to EOL.
Yep.
Yeah, they're pinning that on the 99 Liszczynski.
And there is the updated damage to Greg Vielle's number 26. So Vielle will start in 19th, at least for the moment. Clapper 23rd and Liszczynski 25th. Robert Walton was ahead of Scott Formosa, so he will get the free pass here under this caution. And it'll be Daniel Silvestri once again out in front with Jake Waltman flanking him. As it will be Tyler Truex in the third position. We've got one more read, so we'll get it out of the way. There's no rain in tonight's forecast at the racetrack, but there is back in TLC's territories. If storms leave your backyard flooded and no fun, give your yard a little TLC with a 100% money-back guaranteed drainage solution for your home. TLC provides a complete custom drainage solution unique to your yard's characteristics and problem areas. This ensures that when the rain comes, it keeps on going, reducing soil saturation and removing the flooding risk from your property, as Bob Carr will now explain.
Hey, Bob Carr here with the Bob Carr Show. In this episode of the Bob Carr Show, we're going to be talking about hot weather, high humidity, and the problems that causes for a lot of people in their lawn and their shrubs. So here's the rule. Air temperature, humidity combined, anytime it's over 150, you do not want to be watering. Well, how do I get around that? Number one, anytime after 1 o'clock in the morning, before 5 or 6, that's like a natural dew. That's when you want to be watering. And a couple other things to go along with that. One is the water pressure will be highest if you're on domestic water service. On a well, it doesn't make any difference, but you don't have other people use it, so you will have higher pressure typically. The other big thing is before the sun rises, the wind currents are going to be the lowest. So that way the water will be staying on the property. But if you can water in that window, okay, not to be watered at night, because if you're watering in the evening, that's when you're going to get a fungus, because you got a high temperatures, high humidity. Another big negative is the water is going to be laying on the tissue of the lawn in the shrubs all night, which is going to give you a high probability of getting a fungus. So if you need more information on this, give us a call here at the office at 410-721-2342. Hit the link below for more information. And again, thanks for watching the Bob Carr Show.
Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Some amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, the rocket! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the West Coast and ThunderClap Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Back here at the Charlotte Roval, about to go back to green flag racing, and I'll explain as to why we've had so many breaks here this week. Because Bo had, for those of you who don't know, those wonderful video race intros that get done before every single race. Bo makes those, and he does an absolutely incredible job with those. And he had a great one for Kansas lined up 2 weeks ago, a great Memorial Day intro, all these ads and all these special commercials and all these different things for TLC Incorporated that were supposed to run 2 weeks ago, that in a rare moment of moment of idiocy for me is not rare, but in just a complete blank moment, I forgot to do all of it last week, which is why there's so many ads this week. Just catching up on what we should have done last time out at Kansas 2 weeks ago. But again, Bo, you do an absolutely wonderful job on these intros. They really are incredible.
Well, I truly appreciate the praise, and I know Bob Carr appreciates the TV time. He's put a lot into this league. He's honestly just a fan. He doesn't have a horse in the game or anything. He just, as a client of mine at RL Productions, he has enjoyed seeing this grow from a bunch of guys on Xbox all the way to what you all see now. And he's happy to be along for the show, and we're about to have ourselves a show as we get ready to go back here at Green.
And he's had his name headlining these last 2 races. As we go back to green flag racing, Daniel Silvestri, a great slingshot coming out of that infield chicane as a little bit wayward at the back, but Silvestri gets away clean. Now looking to set sail and run as Steven Sharik kind of holding up the next group as Mark McCreary gets around him. That's for 11 side by side through the field behind them.
Big action with the 57, and I believe that's Roger Diebold back there. They were, I don't know if you can get any closer.
Diebold in the 38, currently running in the 7th spot in that in-and-out Ford. And a little bit further back, Cole Gadgedoris battling side-by-side still with Anthony Burleson. Those guys have been side-by-side throughout the entirety of this lap. So have the 2 in front, Ryan Zunk and James Sharik. Now those 2 are teammates. Pardon me, that's Zunk and the Gadgedoris boys. Those were the teammates. As Anthony Burleson, my goodness, almost got run over by Greg Vielle going into the bus stop.
Oh, and Greg Vielle goes around.
See what happened here with Greg Vielle. There he is in the 26, and the caution comes out again.
He was sitting right in the middle of that bus stop there.
So Vielle, it's the 3rd consecutive caution that he has been some part of. Whether he's been the cause of it or not is up for debate, but
He was definitely not the cause of that one.
take a look and see what happened to bring out what would be the 4th caution of the night that is not a stage caution.
We would call that help.
And, yep, with Vince Burns. And then Vince Burns sent him sideways and then finished him off. Surprised that Vielle did not run into the back of Burleson.
And that's, I think he was so much slower from trying to keep from running into the back of him, and that's how the Burns ended up getting into him. Now, I don't believe that will fall under our 3 incident limit, where if you're in more than 3 incidents, you got to go, because that clearly no fault of Greg Vielle.
Now, Vince Burns is stopped on the racetrack. That is between turns 5 and 6 on that little straightaway in the infield. And now he is rolling as he has sufficiently got himself to the back of the field. And we will pace again here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 16 laps to go, and by the time we get this thing green, we will have about 11 to go for this race. And I'm not sure. Now, it's certainly saving tires for these guys, only doing about a lap or so under green flag conditions, but fuel still, I'm sure, is going to be a little bit of a worry. I think this just means, all these cautions mean that instead of seeing these pit stops come inside of 10 laps to go in the stage, we're going to start seeing them come around 5 laps to go in the race.
Yeah, and that's not a lot of time for these guys to get back up there that have been mired in the middle of the field. Usually that causes more problems. You've got some guys like the 63 who has fought back after his incidents to be kind of where he was before it all went down. And you've got guys like Thomas Aaron, who we know has speed but hasn't been able to show anything for it. And Ryan Truex, if that green flag run would have happened, I swear he would have found a way to the front. But now he's going to have to do some desperate, crazy moves to get up and fight Silvestri and Waltman, who have really been controlling this race all night.
Finished second in the first stage and has not been all that high up, as I think we've thrown a quick yellow here. As no one has come into pit road, the field is double filing up. Lights are out on the pace car. So we will be going back to green flag here with 14 laps to go. Want to take a look now, and because of the new iRacing model here, we can jump onto the right front corner of that car and see the graining pattern on Ryan Truex. It's not looking too bad. Now again, you can see cording now with the new visual update. You can see tire graining. I'm seeing grooves start to form in these tires, but it's fairly even wear so far for the 56, pardon me.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I'm impressed that we're getting such things in iRacing now to get that realistic feel. But with these cautions, I think that has killed any chance that we saw of these tires becoming a real factor, because they're getting a chance to cool down. They're getting a chance to just log some laps at 50 miles an hour. I don't think we're going to see any issues with them. I think the issues you're going to start seeing is front ends and rear ends looking identical as guys really just try to start nosing their way through the field with only a couple left.
Silvestri has been quite the watch as Walton gets his lap back. I would have to assume, I don't know, are they just going to have Waltman run the oval to get his lap back and try to get caught up, or?
Well, that would be interesting. I'm following along with him now.
Would it count the lap would be my concern if they did that. And going back to what I was saying before, we saw Walton go by. The 97, pardon me, of Daniel Silvestri has been quite the watch under these pace laps. As the pace car, mile low, mile high, Silvestri is quite the.
He's been doing that all night, and I don't truly understand it. I think it's irritating the absolute stuff out of Jake Waltman, who just seems to go the exact opposite way that he goes every single time now. I'd say it's maybe some mind games.
That would be, it would be driving me up a wall if I were Waltman. I know that.
I'd drive him up a wall.
Now, because they sent Walton around, the 66 of Walton around so late, they have reset. And
now we're one to go.
Yeah, they'll do another pace lap here, so we'll get the green with 13 to go. Go ahead.
It looks, I mean, remember we were talking about Cameron Henn. He had started with Tyler Truex. They were on that strategy where they did not pit with the rest. It's really worked out for them. They're still sitting right here in essentially the top 5. And, I mean, I don't know if they have the speed to get the win, but as much as Silvestri seems to be bothering Jake Waltman, they've put themselves in a good place to maybe get some luck on their side.
Now, the typical rule with official races in the A, B, and C class on iRacing is if you're at a short track, you do not pit, because there is going to be a bunch of cautions and you're never going to have a chance to get up through the field. I think that is what Tyler Truex and Cameron Henn have both deployed here, is that strategy of come in a little bit early, get the track position, and then do not pit, because you're not going to have a chance to get back up through the field again if you need to, and that has certainly worked out, as you just said, for both the 69 and the 57.
Yeah, I mean, they're just planted smack dab in the middle of the guys that we've been watching all day. Silvestri, Waltman, Grant, Truex. They're right there sitting in between that group. And, I mean, I'd like to see how it works out for them as long as the back of the pack plays nice with each other and doesn't try to get themselves. I don't know if they know this. Only 10 cars can be in the top 10.
That would make sense. Thank you, Will Buxton.
I'm very bad at math, but that part I got.
And also, just a note, of the drivers that are in the top 5 right now, Tyler Truex has run the slowest lap time of the 5. Silvestri at a 20:41, Waltman a 21:44, Grant a 21:59, J.D. Woodward a 22:59, and Tyler Truex ran a 22.85, so he is certainly the slowest of the guys that are in the top 5 as far as overall pace. But if you're under caution, that overall pace really doesn't matter since you can't get passed up. Unfortunately, now he can, as we're going back to green flag racing, and boy, he got a heck of a start, did he not, Truex?
He was just saving his equipment early on. But that battle for the lead, holy cow, Waltman and, excuse me,
flying past
Silvestri.
the pit wall. Boy, Silvestri pinching that 06 down as far as he can go. And Silvestri on the outside line, able to keep that momentum. He will just clear the 06.
oh, boy.
A little bit of a bump there from Waltman.
As they both ate the sausage curb going into the uphill.
They are turtly enough for the Turtle Club.
Yes, they are. Heading back onto the oval. Riding on board with Jake Waltman.
It was definitely a Joey Chitwood eat your heart out kind of moment.
Exactly.
Oh, Ryan Truex, big move on J.D. Woodward.
There he is going for that 4th position. He's got it. And that's Ryan Truex, by the way. He started in 7th on this restart. He's gotten himself up to 4th. Roger Diebold. Right on the back of Cameron Henn. A little bit of contact as Henn gets sent
him
flying going into the final chicane. He's going to miss J.D. Woodward, have to come to a complete stop, lose those positions, and I don't know if he stalled because he can go now. There he goes.
Well, he
He's
could
gotta
have
be
gone, but he
heartbroken.
didn't do it. He couldn't do it safely. So erring on the side of caution there.
He got the boot from the In-N-Out drive-through,
Yes, he
I'd
did.
say.
Greg Maconi now back up into the top 10, running in 8th after his runoff on the opening lap. Bobby Grant also had a little bit of an off. That would have been in the backstretch chicane that he had that off. Falls from 4th to 7th.
And Thomas Aaron right ahead of him. He has essentially been right here outside the top 5 all day. And I want to see him. I want to see him move. I want to see him get up there. But as long as these guys keep making these dastardly moves, I think he's kind of safe where he's at.
And Silvestri has gotten to 2nd ahead. These guys right now, this trio here is now, here comes Bobby Grant. Grant looking for that 6th position, now has it. Roger Diebold with a nice little run, trying to avoid a repeat. Boy, he backed off way early to try to keep from running over the 12 and does successfully.
Well, you were watching that.
Oh,
Ryan
and Maconi
Truex.
slides. Slide from Maconi, nothing more. Only loses the 1 spot to Diebold, keeps going.
While you were watching that, Ryan Truex was able to get by Tyler up into 3rd in a podium position for the 56.
My goodness, the lap that Daniel Silvestri just put down, a 1:20.13, fastest of all the entire session, 0.3 quicker than his qualifying lap.
That's just mean.
And a full second quicker than Jake Waltman, who just put down his fastest lap of the race at a 1:21.05.
It's still about 90 seconds slower than it took for me to decide not to run this event.
Where's your sense of adventure, man?
Exactly.
Right there with the fast repair they took away from me.
There you
Fair enough. Fair enough.
go. Cagitoris getting around Ryan Zunk. That's just outside the top 10. That's 11th and 12th. J.D. Woodward now with Bobby Grant, Thomas Aaron there as well. As these three have been running line astern all night.
And goodness, Cameron Henn all the way back in 21st place after getting that bit of a punt from the 38. You can just tell the way he's driving right now. Mans is unhappy.
Yeah, he's a little less than entertained, I would say. He's got James Sharik, 2 seconds up the road. And Daniel Silvestri does it again, a 120 dead.
My goodness. He probably slowed down a little bit just to get that perfect lap.
1.4 seconds, pardon me, quicker than Jake Waltman that lap. Ryan Truex putting it in the 120s now with a 129.1. That would be impressive if Silvestri didn't put the 120 flat.
When Ryan Truex
is out to the 4th decimal point, too.
Yeah.
Silvestri might have caught the wall there.
He's been doing that all night.
That's where he finds speed doing it.
Yep, absolutely. As Cole Cacciadoris now looking on Mark McCreary in the 88. Nice crossover. Unfortunately, can't let the back end come around as well.
Nice, safe, quiet day for Mark McCreary. That was my my partner at Talladega until I died.
And a solid run here for McCreary as well, as McCreary comes into this race. As far as the overall point standings are concerned, comes into this race running 3rd in points, just 18 off of Roger Diebold and Jake Waltman. So it's not going to be an unbelievable night for Mark McCreary, but a solid points night nonetheless.
That's been his whole season. He's just silently gotten the points when it mattered. And, you know, he might not have done the flashy wins or had the crazy death-defying moves that some of these other guys have gotten to get themselves in the points. He's just silently took that gray ghost through the field.
Do apologize for the stream quality. Again, this is iRacing Week 13 at its finest here with the new update that's just come out. It's wreaked havoc with the server. It's wreaked havoc with our SDK and our streaming as well, so we do apologize sincerely for the stream quality dips, and I assure you that they will be fixed and ready to go again for Gateway next week in the trucks, which I'm sure that will be a fun race. The Cup Series put on an incredible show at Gateway this past weekend, and now we're going to do the same coming up next Wednesday.
It'll allegedly be fixed by next week.
Well, you'll be running the show next week.
Then it won't be fixed.
Oh, Cole Gadgedoris has had a problem.
A big problem. That front bumper does not want to stay.
That left front wheel is not connected. Yeah.
So Cole Gadgedoris has had a big off. This, I'm sure, would have been in the braking zone in 3 and 4. Here he comes.
Long way around the track.
Oh, just straight on in the second half of that corner.
He's going to have to tow that thing.
Yeah, that's right on board with him here. Is just too much gas, and boy, he pounded that wall hard. And that's another thing that we've neglected to talk about. I mean, we've spoken so much about the new damage model and how it looks, and how these drivers are also going to have to get used to driving these cars with the new damage model and with the lowered diffuser and the different skid plate. Also, driving these cars back from a wreck is going to be completely different from what these guys are used to as well, with the new damage model and bits falling off of your car.
Well, it's going to be like the ARCA series has been over the past couple of seasons. That was the first car to get the latest damage model for a full-fendered stock car. But, you know, like anything else iRacing throws at these guys, they're going to get it sorted out from a driver standpoint.
The Cup car, the old Gen Cup car, the last Gen Cup car had that damage model for a while, but it broke the car so bad they took it off mid-season from what I remember.
It only lasted about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Chase Leahy just went around Tony Burleson, and hit the bus stop, and I got to see the entire underside of his car. And I'm just saying, there's a couple areas for some sponsorship down there if he wants to work on that.
I wish they would let us paint the underbelly of these cars, because I guarantee you there's some creative people out there that would put some messed up things on the bottom of that car. If you can read this, send an ambulance. You know,
me.
There's we're seeing it now, and boy, yeah, he did jump that curb quite a bit.
Paint across the belly pan of this car. That didn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Remember the Jeeps in the 90s that would say, if you can read this, roll me over.
I actually put something like that on the bottom of the Lotus 49 in Sim, because you can paint the bottom of that car.
Yeah. My chiropractor's phone number is.
Don't move me till the ambulance and my lawyer get here.
Ryan Harrison's slow now, too. He might be having an issue.
Yeah, Harrison has not had a good night in that 13. He is 10 laps down at the moment, running in 29th. Seth Gadjadoris in the 4, by the way, is the only driver that is... he's one of 3 drivers that is officially out of this race. Chuck Chambly and Matt Cherry also officially out of this race, as Ryan Harrison is the last car running in that number 13 right now, as Bobby Grant has gotten around J.D. Woodward and is now trying to run away. He's got that 5th position. Can he hold it?
They come through the uphill section. Both of them tiptoeing as they go through that off-camber downhill.
J.D. Woodward so good through that section and almost running into the back of the 14, trying to dive to the inside. Didn't work out for him all that well.
We've seen that all day where guys have gotten close. They go for that move and they spin.
Yep, contact, but Woodward somehow keeps it straight, and we were on board with him for it. Now we're 3 wide.
Oh, boy.
Oh, watch out. Woodward tried to give Aaron room. Probably didn't realize Grant was still out there, and Woodward, even with that move, still ends up as the middle car, just with a different car in front of him.
Called the
They're not done yet.
No, they're not. As Woodward goes wide through turn 1, this allows Bobby Grant to get to the inside of him. Grant can't keep it, though.
So what are the odds that we're going into overtime?
I would say slim. What a
Looking pretty
run.
good with these two.
Yeah.
I thought it was Yingling and Hershey's that had the beer together, not these two.
Well, Reese's isn't part of Hershey.
No,
it's just located just outside of Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Well, someone lied to me in my childhood. Ma!
Take a look at that whole ordeal one more time. It's down the back straightaway. There's the dive. There's the lockup from Woodward. Contact between himself and the 14. They both keep it straight, and the only one that didn't have an issue getting through that is the one who comes away with the position on the bottom. What a run there from those 3. And, Woodward did give the 93 a little bit of a shot going into that final chicane as well.
Yes, he did.
Hey, something happened with the 63 as well, because I was actually just about to comment that he had fought all the way back to almost the top 10, and he's all the way back in 18th now, but he went from 12th to 18th in about a lap, so I'll have to see what happened there.
Yeah, well, he did go off track, and I'm going to be honest, I would show it, but I just had so much trouble getting out of that replay there that I think we're going to stay with live action the rest of this night.
Yeah, I'll do the play-by-play in my head. It hurt. It hurt to watch. It sucked. Poor man. Commissioner off track. Never good.
Now,
RIP.
Daniel Silvestri is 10 seconds clear of this battle right here. Tyler Truex having a little bit of a moment earlier on. in the infield. Waltman and Ryan Truex, running second and third with 2 laps to go here. Truex, we know, has the pace. As now here's Tommy Allen getting well out of the way. And we've seen, as I think Greg Maconi's had an issue. Yeah, he has. A little bit of an off there for him. Robert Walton an off as well in the 66. And now Maconi about to lose 9th position to Mark McCreary, and does.
I think the leader just had an off right in front of him. Yeah, it was Walton.
Silvestri getting back onto the NASCAR Oval. Oval 1, Roval 9. And what a
So
night.
you're saying oval beats spread?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
Silvestri
brings it to the bus stop on the backstretch. And you're absolutely right, Frank. What a debut race for Dan Silvestri.
For RD Esports, Silvestri comes in, first race of the season, and he is going to waltz away from this field. He's got one more lap to go. Ryan Truex has one more lap to try to get around Jake Waltman. And he has a couple of places that he can do it. He is quite close to that 06. J.D. Woodward has a lap to try to get around Thomas Aaron. But these guys, Bo, it's been so difficult to pass around here tonight. I'd be surprised if any of those guys are able to make the move.
I tell you, as Silvestri, races into next week, these guys are still here on Wednesday, battling it out. And like you said, every single guy that gets within passing distance, it's like the second they try to get back in the throttle and make the move around them, the back end just kicks out. And you're seeing it with Ryan Truex.
Oh!
We know.
Contact, between the 14 and the 47. The 47 trying to straighten it back up, gets into the 14. And that sorted itself out as now Roger Diebold comes up to the inside of the 14. Grant tried to get it done and unfortunately paid the price.
Woodward is not happy.
I believe it. He still got the position, so it can't hurt too much.
Yeah, I'd say that's a quick poetic justice for the 47.
Yeah, absolutely. Is coming through the final trial, coming through the final chicane. Daniel Silvestri on debut wins the TLC Incorporated 220 here at the Charlotte Roval. What a race, what a debut. Waltman just does beat Ryan Truex side by side at the line.
It was close.
Less than a 10th.
It was very close.
Less than a 10th between the two. Roger Diebold not going to be able to get Bobby Grant, so I'm sure J.D. Woodward's not happy with Grant. But everyone ended up in the same position they would have had they not made contact. Woodward still comes home in 6th. Grant still comes home in 7th.
And these guys got to remember that if you want to show displeasure, you got to wait for every single car to pass the start-finish line before you can show that displeasure, or the hammer of the law will come down hard.
Yeah, we saw that 2 weeks ago as there's a little bit of a wave. Nothing physical just yet, and now there's a little shove. Nothing too incredulous.
Race control was warning him.
I'm sure they are.
It's just road course racing.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, door to
They're
door.
still not done.
Battle Royale.
I'm sure Justin White will be taking a look at it in race control, but right there was nothing overboard, just a little shove and a door slam, and that was it. And again, Bo,
go ahead.
I was going to say, and as I said, you understand why he's upset. No one wants to get run out for position. But both of them came home in the same spot. I understand Woodward now is a little bent out of shape because he lost his chance to try to get 5th. But still, he kept his spot.
those guys had been duking out all night long. And, when it's like having a roommate in college. Eventually they use too much of your toothpaste, or you find a hair in your deodorant that's not yours. And after 2 years, you gotta fight. And I think that's really what you saw there. They raced each other all day long. And when it came down to it at the end, they just had enough. And I think it worked out the best way it could, because no one totally got taken out, and they ended in the finishing position where most of the contact was.
But it certainly ended that way, as we'll try to work these guys in here. As Tony, you are with our race winner, series debutant, Daniel Silvestri.
Daniel Silvestri in your series debut here with the ThunderClap iRacing Stock Car Series. Congratulations on winning at the Roval.
Thank you very much, guys.
Talk us through that initial opening melee. What happened?
Well, kind of everything I kind of planned for was just building up to that last run, and I made a few mistakes. I obviously made a mistake on the first lap, getting that first chicane. It's funny. I told myself don't overdrive it, and I go in there and overdrive it. This is kind of a racetrack where if you're not on it 100% and you're just trying to ride a little bit, you can find yourself in worse places than if you're driving hard because you're not focused on hitting your marks. So I learned that lesson, and everything until then was just figuring out how hard I could go on the tires, and kind of figured it out, and we were really good at the end there.
How bad was the tire wear here tonight? We saw everybody come in for foreign fuel under the first stage break.
Honestly, there was very little tire wear. Every time we pitted, we only lost about 5% on the front tires, and it was really not much at all. So, I didn't really feel like I needed to save a whole lot. The front tires weren't wearing. You were gaining more grip every single time you ran, and every lap you ran. Like that last run, the track was so much faster than it was at the start of the race, so I wasn't worried about it.
It absolutely was faster than the start of the race, as you set quick time of the night with a 120 dead.
Yeah, I couldn't even believe I was running that. I kind of just turned my relative off and just kind of was just letting the iRacing spotter tell my lap times, and I was just trying to focus on hitting my marks and stay out in front. Made a few mistakes, but luckily they didn't cost me.
A couple of Code Brown moments there with some lap cars about the mid-race, but you kept your wits about you. Who do you need to thank for the victory here tonight?
Well, I just gotta, thank some of the team here. Jake and I are good teammates, and we're good friends as well, and we race each other well. And in the hunt for a championship, I'm just here having fun. So, it was good racing him, and then all my family, and just being able to come and run this is really fun. All the people running this league is really good, and you guys got a good thing going here. So, I'll be at the next one.
Absolutely, you do mention the next one as we go to Gateway in the trucks. Your thoughts going into that event next week?
That's good. I've always done pretty well there, and it's definitely going to be a more of a single file race. You kind of let people go, but if you can just calculate how hard you are in the tires, I think that's going to be a fun race.
All right, Dan, congratulations on your victory here tonight at Charlotte. We will see you next week in Gateway.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And
right,
Bo, I believe...
Hold on, time out. We are having a lot of stream issues right now. I cannot keep a solid stream bit rate up right now. So, Jake, we will get to your interview actually next week at Gateway. I just want to shut this down before it goes any further. We got the race in. We pushed through that, and I think we should probably just end it now with how many issues I'm having trying to keep this stream just up.
Probably the safe bet.
Yeah, so really quick, we'll just go through the results here. Daniel Silvestri takes the win. Jake Waltman, Ryan Truex, your podium finishers, 3rd and 5th. J.D. Woodward, Bobby Grant, Roger Diebold, Mark McCreary, and Greg Maconi come home in top 10 positions. Ryan Zunk, Steven Sharik, Chase Leahy, Matt Garrett, and Anthony Burleson round out the top 15. Cameron Henn, Steven Lischinski, we're having more issues here, so Steven Lischinski, Justin Clapper, James Sharik, and Dustin Stallings, the top 20. Greg Vielle, Vince Burns, Tommy Allen, Scott Formosa, Robert Walton, the top 25. David Hall, Cole Gedgedoris, Ryan Harrison, and Nikolai Jardone, the final drivers to finish. Chuck Chambly, Matt Cherry, and Seth Gedgedoris rounding out the field here tonight. So for my broadcast partners, Tony Trapasso and Bo Condon, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. We will see you all next week at Gateway for round number 11 of this ThunderClap season. Good night, everybody.